Good evening and welcome to Lower Frederick Township's Board of Supervisors work session for December 16th of 2025. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. All members of the board are present, including our staff, township manager, solicitor, engineer, and our chief of police. Township meetings are recorded for the purpose of preparing the minutes, and the recording is destroyed after the minutes are approved. The meeting will be posted online on the Township YouTube channel. The link can be found on the Board of Supervisors page on the Township website. It is requested that all persons wishing to speak before the board shall state their name, address, and the subject matter upon which they wish to speak for the record. In the interest of facilitating the business of the board, all persons addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes unless such time is extended for the chair for good cause. Individuals are requested to remain in their seats and to respect when other persons are speaking. The Board of Supervisors will provide a reasonable opportunity for citizens to comment on any non-agenda items after all the agenda items have been addressed, but prior to the adjournment of the public meeting. So, our first order of business this evening. We had an executive session this evening at 6:30 to discuss personnel and legal matters. First thing on our agenda this evening is recognizing our outgoing supervisors, Terry Bird and Chuck Geiser.
Do you want me to read the resolution?
I can read it.
Oh, okay.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to read the same resolution. It applies to both supervisors. Did you want me to read them both?
Mine's longer.
We're going to be here till 9.
Wow. Okie dokie. All right, we'll go with the longer one first. Okay. This is resolution number 2025 R30, a resolution of appreciation and gratitude for Charles Yeiser for service to Lower Frederick Township. Whereas Charles Yeiser has honorably served the residents of Lower Frederick Township as a member of the Board of Supervisors since 2020, performing his duties with diligence, integrity, and dedication to the public interest, and whereas Charles Yeiser has further contributed to the township through his service on the Lower Frederick Township Planning Commission, including serving as chair, providing leadership in land use planning and policy development, and whereas Charles Yeiser has also represented the township through services on the Regional Planning Commission and as the co-chair of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, playing a significant role in guiding the township's long-range planning efforts. And whereas through his years of public service, Charles Yeiser has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to sound governance and civic responsibility, earning the respect and appreciation of the Board of Supervisors, township staff, and residents. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Lower Frederick Township, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, hereby expresses its formal appreciation and sincere gratitude to Charles Yeiser for his exemplary service and valuable contributions to the township. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be entered into the official records of Lower Frederick Township as a permanent expression of recognition and thanks. Resolved and adopted the 16th day of September 2025 and duly advertised public meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Lower Frederick Township.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay. Resolution number 2025 R29, a resolution of appreciation and gratitude for Terry Bird for service to Lower Frederick Township. Whereas Terry Bird has served the residents of Lower Frederick Township, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, with dedication and integrity as a member of the Board of Supervisors for 6 years, and whereas prior to service on the Board of Supervisors, Terry Bird also served the township on the Planning Commission and has continued serving on the agricultural security area, contributing to responsible land use planning and the preservation of the township's agricultural heritage. And whereas through this combined public service, Terry Bird demonstrated a strong commitment to effective local government and the welfare of the community. Now, therefore, Be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors of Lower Frederick Township, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, that the Board of Supervisors expresses its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Terry Bird for dedicated service to Lower Frederick Township. The Board commends Terry Bird for leadership, integrity, and lasting contributions to the township, and the Board extends best wishes to Terry Bird in all future endeavors. Resolved and adopted this 16th day of December, 2025, at a duly advertised public meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Lower Frederick Township.
And we thank you, Terry.
Does anyone have any comments? No? Oh, okay. We got to run again. Okay. First order of business this evening is Artisan Land Development, review discussion on preliminary plan application. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
You want me to?
I'll let you start.
Okay. So, as the board knows, this plan has been before you numerous times over the last year plus. We have gotten to the point where the plans have been finalized sufficiently for, I think, both Carol and I to be comfortable that the board consider them for approval. Schwenksville Borough has granted both preliminary and final plan approval to this project, as well as Perkiomen Township. So the applicant is before you tonight. Currently, we have advertised this as, or not advertised it, we have put on our agenda preliminary plan approval. The applicant's attorney asked me today, or actually yesterday, whether or not we would consider granting them preliminary/final plan approval. Normally, we require preliminary plan approval and then final plan approval as two separate actions. That's laid out, I believe, in Section 10 of our SALDO. If the board wishes to consider preliminary/final plan approval, we would also then have to consider a waiver to that particular provision. That being said, really the only major outstanding item here is with the boundary line change. Artisan has done everything they're required to do as far as the boundary line change. They have prepared the necessary plans. They have prepared the necessary legals. Those have been reviewed by Carol, and Carol's comfortable with those plans and legals. At this point in time, we're basically waiting for Perkiomen to get back to us based on the draft ordinance that I have sent to them. Other than that, the applicant has presented plans that have addressed all of our requests over the last year, including the sidewalk extension, the extension, of the sewer line, and the road realignment of the intersection at Smith and Centennial. So that's where we stand right now. If you have any questions for Carol and I, we can obviously address them. If you have any questions for Ms. Erickson, I'm sure she's ready to address them also. Have I missed anything or misspoken?
Just thank you for all of that. That is accurate. And in addition to that, we have received our outside agency permits. So our NPDS approval was issued on December 10th, and our planning module, yes. Oh, it's blinking off and on.
You kind of have to sit on top of it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
Sorry, I
make it
think you
closer.
could pull it up a little.
Closer if you can.
just my favorite
Okay,
thing to be
okay.
in front of the microphone. Okay.
Sorry.
Is that better? Can you,
It's more for the benefit of people on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, and also we put our meetings up on YouTube, so what happens is there's like,
Yeah.
don't remind me that then there's a video of this, because So, starting over, so we have also received for the project our outside agency permits. The NPDS permit was issued on December 10th of this year, and I am remiss on the date that the planning module was approved, but DEP has also approved the planning module Act 537 resolution for adjustment. So we don't have any really outside agency permits. The other two municipalities, as Mr. Nelson just stated. So everything is really pretty much teed up to be in front of you at this point.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Jackie or Carol? Or Peter?
I have a question for Peter. If we were to also consider final approval this evening, how do we do that since it's not on the agenda?
We would first have to amend the agenda. Approximately 2 weeks ago, the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court issued a decision that overturned the Commonwealth Court's decision for a couple of years ago that prohibited us from amending the agenda. We now can amend the agenda at a meeting by taking a vote to amend the agenda and then voting on the amended item. The only step we would then have to take would be Jason would have to prepare a amended agenda and then post it on the website the following day. But we did this before the Commonwealth Court decision. We had done this multiple times, and we can do that again now. And so we would have to first take that vote to amend the agenda to show the consideration of both preliminary and final plan approval. If that was passed, then you could vote on granting a preliminary final plan approval. The draft resolution, I would have to change some of the language to reflect that, but we have, under the MPC, we have 15 days to finalize and send out the draft resolution after the vote's taken to grant an approval.
Okay, again, does anyone have any questions for Carol or Peter or Jackie? No? Not seeing any. I guess the first move would be to revise our agenda.
Yes.
Okay, and I will make a motion to amend our agenda for this evening, December 16th, 2025, for the Artisan Land Development Review Decision on preliminary and final plan application. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor Sachs makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Supervisor Hexter gives the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And then Jason, you'll move forward with getting that back up on the website tomorrow. Okay, so I guess we can, if I don't see any other questions or comments referencing this plan, we can move to the recommended motion to move to approve Resolution 2025 R31 granting preliminary final approval to the Artisan Land Company Landis Tract subdivision conditioned on the value engineering letter dated December 9th of 2025. Can I get a motion?
If I could make a couple suggestions.
Absolutely.
It's also conditioned upon the Montgomery County Planning Commission letter of November 27th, 2024, and Resolution 25 R16 concerning the boundary line change, and to authorize changes made by the solicitor to finalize the resolution to reflect both preliminary and final plan approval.
Thank you, Peter.
And can I possibly just, for clarification, so that the record is complete, that one of Value Engineering's review comments was for the sidewalk concrete spec. And when I spoke to Value Engineering yesterday, it was the request to revise the waiver request to expand it so that the spec is consistent what is being put into Perkiomen Township and the borough, so that it's one spec throughout the community.
Would that be something that you would deal with, the
I will
engineers
be happy
outside
to
of this
deal with that
motion?
as part of the plan review.
Yeah,
And yes,
okay.
Okay.
the type of concrete that's used, be it C or S, will make sure that it's consistent with what the other
Perfect.
townships are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Having said that, the motion is out there. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Sachs makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion passes unanimously. Thank you,
very
Jackie.
much.
And Ms. Erickson, I'll get this hopefully out to you by the end of this week.
Wonderful.
Great, thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda for this evening is conditional use adjudication for 6 and 10 Fourth Avenue. They came before us at the last conditional use hearing. Jason, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Well, I will handle this also.
Thank you, Peter.
So the hearing was on November 25th. And at the end of the hearing, you voted to grant this conditional use application subject to a few conditions. We have prepared a written adjudication that reflects your vote. And while, to be honest, you don't have to vote on this at tonight's meeting, since you already voted before, you can just vote to approve the adjudication as written and authorize your signature thereof. You don't have to make the motion as put forth in Jason's memo. It can just be a motion to approve the adjudication as written.
Okay, so the motion will be to approve the adjudication for 6th and 10th Fourth Avenue. Can I get a motion, please? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Byrd makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. The final item on our agenda this evening is the acceptance of resignation of the township administrator. Mrs. Yoder submitted her resignation to the township and to the board on December 3rd of 2025, and her last day will be January 2nd of 2026. So the motion at this time is to accept Bonnie Yoder's resignation as administrator effective January 2nd of 2026. Can I get a motion?
Chuck Yais will make the motion.
Supervisor Yiser makes the motion. Regrettably, I will make the second. And all of those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
And we wish Bonnie the best in the next stage.
Okay, is there any public comment this evening? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
No?
My wife has her hand up.
Sorry, I didn't see it. Come on up. Iris, right over here. Thank you, Ruth. Okay, we have public comment up on Diane Jordan. Oh, she's just clapping. She's agreeing. Thank
I
you,
was
Dr.
just clapping, yes.
Okay,
But thank you, Terry and Chuck, for your service. Very valued.
okay, is there any supervisor comment?
Oh, it's only 7:30. Let's see. Got till 10, right? So I thought a lot about what I want to say, and thankfully, my wife was my sounding board and helped me throw out the bad ideas. So I started on this journey with the township roughly 21 years ago, and sorry. Sadly, the person who got me started in all this can't be here tonight as I finish it. some of you probably know it was Phil. And my wife was doing community outreach in the area, and somehow we got on Phil's radar. And he stopped by and he said, gee, you know, we have somebody who's leaving the township and there's a planning commission spot open. And I think, you know, what I know about you, you should put your name in. And I did. And that was kind of real official, like, you know, my CV, and made a little presentation. And, you know, this is like the big time for me, right? And it was a little bit of back and forth, but I got on the planning commission. So that was around 2004. And then, you know, Ron Ladley got out of office and I took over his spot on regional for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And of course he was treasurer, so that meant I had to be treasurer. So I was treasurer for all that time at the regional. And then in the interim, we also had the opportunity to get money from the county. So they said, hey, why don't you participate in our ad hoc open space committee and help us revise our open space plan in 2006 so we can get money from the county, which was used to buy Colonial Park. And then along the way, you know, we decided we wanted to do a comprehensive plan later on in the 20-teens. And thankfully, I had a good partner as a co-chair with Crystal Gilchrist, and co-chaired that, and we successfully got through COVID and got that approved. Fortunately, it was funny, the night that we actually had an open house here, the air conditioning was broken. It was June, it was hot. We had all the windows open and people brought in fans. But we got through it and it was good. We had about 100 people in here, even with no air conditioning. And then, you know, I decided to run for supervisor in 2019. And you know, when I went around and talked to people in the township, regardless of political affiliation, I mean, people had the same concerns. You know, they moved here for similar reasons. And I had good conversations with lots of people. And, you know, a stop sign is a stop sign is a stop sign, regardless of whether your affiliation is one or the other. And, you know, I've always tried in my decisions to say, okay, I live in Lower Frederick. I make certain decisions because I know, having talked to many, many people and, you know, going over the years, what the feelings of the township are. And I have my personal feelings, and sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're at odds. But to be honest with you, a lot of times I will, you know, take very, you know, base my decision on what I really feel is appropriate for this township. And I would assume everybody does that. You know, some people have thought that supervisors come in with like an agenda and I'm going to do this come heck or high water. And be honest with you, a lot of times we're asked to make decisions very quickly. The information comes fast. We're up here on display trying to digest it all. And we all try to do our best. And I guess, you know, that was something that Phil said to me many times the last week when he was still with us, that he did his best. And can honestly say that was my objective as well. I also want to say that we are all lifted up by the volunteers we have in the township. The people who come to serve on these boards, and you know, they really help the township out. They lift the supervisors up. We had an amazing event just earlier in December. It was quite wonderful to stop by. It was a little cold for me, but it was a nice day and a good event. But I mean, you know, all kinds of things going on that we're all lifted up by volunteerism, and I hope that continues. Lastly, I also want to mention too, so I mentioned regional planning, and over the years, there's been a lot of discussion of this concept of rural character. And it means different things to different people. To some, it means, okay, we want to keep things historically the way they are in terms of buildings, or historically in terms of maybe agricultural activities or the natural world around us. To some, it may mean, you know, keep the riffraff out. But by and large, and I think it's important for people to recognize that one of the reasons why we're able to keep our rural character as much as we have been is because we plan regionally. Fortunately, there were people back in around 2001, at that time it would have been Ralph Walters and Bill McGovern, who saw the importance of planning regionally, which meant that we did not have to support all the different zoning uses required for a township of our size. So, and our partners who are down 29, will say, yeah, we want to keep the Fredericks rural as best we can. And that has helped us tremendously. And so there have been people like myself or like Marla or other people who have been going to these meetings over the years so we can participate in that group. And Ernie's been there too. And keep our zoning the way it is. And that's a very important thing. And I don't think it gets recognized nearly as much as it should. We've also, during the last 6 years, made some changes to our zoning, which I think is also helping try to keep things balance of rural and more developed areas. As I've said many times, we sort of have a unique situation here. Springmount and then the rest of the township, it's sort of like a hybridized borough and township. And so we have a lot of issues here that are really more widely seen with boroughs than, let's say, our neighbors up the road here in Upper Frederick. And so it does present a unique challenge. So with all that said, those are sort of my general thoughts. I think it's a great township. I think the volunteers are great. I appreciate everything that they do. And I wish the township all the best in the future and, all the success for the future board, whatever they get involved in. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Terry, you're up.
I guess just ditto to what Chuck said now. So I'll try to keep this under an hour. So I haven't had that much experience, but I got involved with township matters probably about 9 years ago, and it was because of some development activity or rumors that were happening right around my house. So started coming to meetings and paid attention, and a lot of times those developments wouldn't be discussed during meetings, but I was already there, so I'd sit through the meeting and realize there's more going on than just the development, so it started to get involved. And then the board at that time saw I kept showing up and said, you should sit on the board, you should join the planning commission. So I threw my name in and they selected me, so that was nice. A couple years later, decided that I'd run for supervisor. I was going from a board of 3 to 5. Kind of went through that process. Leading up to that as well, a neighbor of mine, Ellen Kenny, came to me one day and she had a paper and she said, there's this agricultural security area they're trying to form and I want you to join it. I said, okay, sure, let me look at it. And then I got introduced to Linda. She was doing all the legwork for this agricultural security area. And I started reading about it and realized how important it was to maintain some of that rural character, especially the farming activity for when communities grow. And I said, you know what, give me a few of these applications. And I started driving around to other people's houses on the list and getting them to join it as well. But kind of getting back to the board and the election process, politics are not fun. Wasn't fun getting here, but we got here 6 years ago. It seems like a really long time ago. At the same time, it seems like it flew by so quick. So January 2020, things were going great. What could go wrong? A couple months later, we're trying to figure out how to run. It wasn't Zoom. Well, it wasn't Zoom then, was it? Yeah. It was Zoom. Okay. Trying to figure out how to run Zoom, and then teaching some other people that were technology, not quite savvy with it. Trying to have actual meetings was tough. So kind of changed the way that we operated. At the same time, at that time, having a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old at home wasn't the easiest. Working all day at home, having them at home, having a township meeting at home, but we got through it. Fast forward, a year, and we had Hurricane Ida. So then we're dealing with how we're repairing things that get damaged, how are we paying for these things, how are we going to get reimbursed for them. At the same time, working with the manager and the staff at that time to refinance some sewer loans, and then also talk about getting sewer projects that were, stalled at that point get them off the ground and running, which are now obviously complete. At the same time, dealing with some development pressures that were coming our way. And again, I think overall, Chuck touched on a lot of the ordinances and changes that were made. Overall, I think it was good, some good work. Obviously, got to thank a lot of people in my family. First and foremost, they've put up with a lot of this stuff. Of course, going back 6 years, the voters that got us here, and then the board, staff, professional services, the volunteer committees, everyone that makes this place go around. This is, we have to thank everyone. I don't think the current and future board's asking for advice, so here it is. Keep politics out of it. Like Chuck mentioned, most of the decisions, most of the important, I'd say all of the important things that happen in this township have nothing to do with affiliation. We do not have a partisan sewer plant or roadways or anything. We just have to work together to do the right thing, make decisions that benefit the residents in the township, and look to the future. Talk to people. Don't just keep going back to your echo chamber. You're going to get the same answer. Talk to people. And take your time. Sometimes it seems like things take forever, but things that happen too quick usually aren't the best decisions. Chuck touched on another person who's not here with us. So Phil, got to know him at a meeting. I think it was about I don't even know, 537 or some meeting about sewers up Little Road. And I didn't know what I was going to come and watch. And I saw one of the fun, it's called a pitchfork meeting. And I got to meet this guy, Phil. I'm like, who is this person? What does he know? So met him, and I asked him if he knew anything about farmland preservation, because he mentioned something about a farm, and we started talking and just got to know him over the years through planning commission, and then recent endeavors with my family and renovating some buildings in Zieglerville. He was a huge help volunteering with working around there, so really got to know him as a person during that. Something he said in my last conversation with him was, keep up the good fight. And I asked him, what do you want us to do? And he said, just keep an eye on the township, open space preservation, just keep up the good fight. You'll prevail. So yeah, again, time flies by. My kids are 8 and 11. I'm not going to be at too many meetings in person. I will be a chauffeur service to baseball, softball, soccer, 4-H, scouts, and whatever else they decide that we need to spend our money and time in doing. And I just want to thank everyone, and I did my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, well, having said all that, if no one wants to add anything to that, this meeting is adjourned.